friends, this is Kay Peñaflor from K Yoga. This is a moderate practice focusing on back bends. If you need a block or a towel to support you through your shapes, please remember to bring them with you on the mat. We'll begin in easy seated pose. As you come to a seated position comfortably, switch it so that the opposite shin is on top. Feels a bit different. Move the fleshy part away from your bottom, find length all the way up to the top of your head. What we'll start with first is taking the index finger and middle fingers to the base of your neck, right where your neck and your shoulders meet. Let the fingers come across and think of finding length all the way up to the top of your head. You're pressing your fingertips towards the front of the room. Look up to the sky. Continue to press the fingertips forward. Look up and back as far as you feel comfortable. Slowly come back into a neutral position. Take your fingertips an inch up. Again, length to the top of the head. Press your fingertips forward and back. Slowly lengthening to go back to neutral. And again, you're taking your fingertips up another inch. So now you should have your middle fingers at the base of your skull, pressing forward and up slightly. Length to the top of the head, looking up and back. And come back to neutral. Gently taking your hands down to your knees, slowly start to curl your spine to the back wall, straighten your arms, tuck your chin and tuck your tailbone. Pull with the hands and start to lift to the top of your head, opening your chest to the sky, gaze up and reverse. Slowly go back towards the back wall, tuck the chin, tuck the tailbone. And slowly open up. You'll notice how you naturally want to breathe through this movement. We'll do this 2 more times. And slowly coming back to a neutral position, we'll switch the legs once again. Moving the fleshy part away from the bottom, hands to the knees, and again 4 times cat-cow. Slowly coming back into a neutral position, take your hands to the top of your mat. Step back into a downward facing dog. Feel free to pedal out just to wake up your dog. Pressing the pads of the fingers into the earth, base of the index finger, knuckle and thumb into the earth as well. Rib cage in, abdomen in. Raise your heels as high as you can. Look forward, draw your right knee to your chest, and see if you can squeeze that right knee in, bringing that right foot forward. Keep the back heel nice and high, sweep the fingertips up to the sky, coming into a crescent lunge. Hips and shoulders are square to the top of the mat. Now think of a beach ball pressing up against your back. You're going to reach up and over this imaginary beach ball. Center the chest, reaching to the sky. And slowly coming back up into an upright position. Hands down to the earth, step back right and forward with the left. Same thing, sweep the hands up and back over that imaginary beach ball. Slowly take your hands down to the ground, step back, downward dog. Raise the heels, right foot forward, rooting into the right foot. This time take your hands up and into cactus arms. Reach the center of the chest up to the sky, thumbs in line with the ears. Notice how this change in arm position feels across the chest. Slowly taking your hands down to the earth, step back and forward with the left. Sweep your hands up, find your cactus arms, reach the center of the chest up and back. Find your breath. Slowly take your hands down to the earth, step back into your downward dog. Step forward with the right, sweep the hands up. This time, clasp your hands behind your back. Draw the knuckles to the earth as you open your chest to the sky. Draw your hands down as much as it feels comfortable in the body. Slowly sweep the hands up, then plant them into the ground, step back, downward dog. Forward with the left, sweep the hands up, then clasp the hands behind the back. Switch it now so that the opposite pinky is further away from you. Draw the knuckles to the earth, open the chest to the sky. Again, as much as it's comfortable in the body. Slowly sweep the hands up, then plant the hands down, step back into your downward dog. Gently take your knees down to the earth, walk your hands towards you. If you have tender knees, take your mat and fold it up for a little more cushion underneath the knees. Keep the toes tucked under, knees are hip-width apart. Take your hands to your low back, and you can choose here to either face your fingertips up to the sky. The other option here is to face the fingertips down to the earth, whatever feels good in the wrists and in your arms. From here, center of the chest reaches up and back. Open your chest up to the sky, find your breath. Push your hands into your low back and draw yourself back up into an upright position. From here, you can either just come into the same variation, or if it feels comfortable, you can come down into the next variation. Starting with your hands at your low back, center of the chest reaches up to the sky. Start to tuck the tailbone and maybe, if it feels comfortable, reach back for your ankles, finding a nice long neck. For those of you who feel comfortable, draw a line with your nose towards the back wall. Keeping the hips pressing forward, find your breath. To come out of this pose, take your hands to your low back first. Push with your hands, slowly peel yourself back up into an upright position. Now, if this variation feels good, feel free to stay here and continue with this pose. Otherwise, if you'd like to go a step further, untuck the toes, hands start at the low back, center of the chest reaches up to the sky, and again, if you want to stay here, or if you'd like to open up a bit more, center of the chest reaches up to the sky, head goes back. Take one hand down at a time to your ankles, staying here with your breath. If you have your hands at your ankles, take your hands to the low back first. Engage your glutes, draw your abdomen in to come back up into an upright position. Now, there is a further step if you feel comfortable. If you're feeling like your back is open to it, feel free to join me. Otherwise, you can continue to open your chest in the other two variations that we shared. Starting with your hands to the low back, center the chest reaches up to the sky, and see if you can come down to your calves. And maybe, possibly walking your hands towards your knees, perhaps letting the head come down to the earth. Finding your breath here. Pressing your shins into the earth, draw yourself back into an upright position. And then come to a seated position. Before we go into any forward folds to counter what we've just done, we're going to add a couple more back bends in just to keep the spine and the chest nice and open for back bends. Move the fold from your mat. Take your hands to the earth. Step back into a plank. Then lower yourself all the way down to the ground. Untuck your toes, forehead to the earth, hands down at your sides. Lift your forehead and chest, lift your legs. Stay here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Release. And again, up. Find your breath. Lower. Last time, lift. And gently lower. From here, if it feels comfortable, take your hands forward, elbows underneath the shoulders, push the floor away from you, palms grip the earth. Think of letting the center of the chest reach towards the front of the room, coming into your Sphinx Pose. Notice how this pose feels if you were to draw your lower abdomen in. Gently from here, take your forehead back down to the earth, bend your knees, maybe reach back for your ankles. If it feels comfortable, start to open your chest towards the front of the room, coming into your bow pose. Gently release. And again, bend your knees, reach back for the ankles, kick back into the hands. If this is beginning to feel intense, you can come back into a locust pose with your arms extended back and your legs lifted off of the ground. And lower. One last time, bend your knees and up. Again, you're kicking back into your hands, opening your chest to the front of the room. And lower. Taking your hands underneath your shoulders, tuck your toes under and see if you can ripple up into a downward facing dog. Walk your hands to the center of the mat. You may even need to walk back slightly as well. Raise your heels, bend your knees, look forward. Either step or hop into a seated position. From here, we're going to come down onto our backs, palms to face one another, roll down one vertebrae at a time. You can use your hands at your thighs if you need. With the back of your head to the earth, hands at your sides, walk your feet in close enough you can barely tickle your heels with your fingertips. Slowly from here, press the hips up to the sky. Back of the head and shoulders press into the earth. Find space between the chin and the chest. Slowly lower the hips. For those of you who feel comfortable, you can take your hands beside your head. The other option is to continue here with another bridge pose, just as we have done. So if you feel comfortable, hands by your ears, and slowly see if you can press up into your Urdhva Dhanurasana, upward bow. Once you're here, think of drawing the center of your chest towards the back wall. Slowly come down to the earth to the top of your head. If it's comfortable, you can walk your hands in further towards your heels, then press up once again. Again, once you're pressed up, you're opening your chest towards the back wall. If you are in bridge pose, press the back of your head and shoulders into the earth. Press your hips to the sky. Slowly coming down to the earth to the top of your head. If it's comfortable, you can walk your hands towards your heel further and then press up once again. Once you've pressed up, you're opening your chest towards the back wall. If you're finding any discomfort here, you can come back down to the earth to find your bridge pose. Slowly tuck your chin and let the head come back down to the earth. Let the hips melt down. Heel toe your feet closer together. Let the bottoms of the feet touch. Let the knees melt open. Lift the hips. Allow the hips to sink into the earth. You'll find a natural curve in the low back. Come into cactus arms. Close your eyes and allow your spine to reset in a neutral position. Gently blink your eyes open. Draw your knees in towards one another, then in toward your chest. Give yourself a hug. Nice and slow, you can rock from left to right. Take your hands underneath your knees, rock forward and back 3 times. On your 3rd time, come to easy seated pose. Find length to the top of the head, inhale up and exhale. Again up and exhale. Once more, inhale and release. Namaste.